Good luck, everybody.
Thanks.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to Share the Love Sundays.
We're so excited today. We have some very dear friends here with us. We can't wait for you to meet them. If you're here, don't be shy. Say hello in the chat, and we'll introduce you to our guests.
Okay, so can you start by telling us who you are and what your channel's about?
So we are the Nomadic Trio, and we have a YouTube channel based on full-time RV living. We live in an RV 365 days a year, traveling the country. I would say the world, but it's really hard to drag this thing across water. So we travel the United States and just kind of look for fun, out of the way things that maybe people would overlook whenever they're traveling. You know, we'll hit some touristy destinations, but our main thing we like to do is we like to visit the small little local hometown kind of sites that, you know, when you pull into a place, you ask the person that owns the campground, well, what does everybody overlook here? That's the thing we want to go find, you know. So that's kind of what our channel's based around.
Oh, that's fascinating. So why did you start a YouTube channel about this, and when did you start it?
Well, here's the thing. So we started doing this when Elias was 8 months old. So he is our first child. So you can imagine what the family felt like taking him away.
Yes.
And I've always been near my parents. I've always lived very close. So we actually did it for our family to follow along and kind of watch him grow, and if they wanted to see me. But then it kind of turned into more. It turned into us wanting to help other people doing the same thing as us, because we learned a lot. We're learning a lot about this life, and we enjoy helping others so they're not kind of stuck like we were at certain points.
Oh, that's fantastic.
There's a lot of stuff to see that, you know, people don't think about. You know, everybody, when they think of family vacation, they go, well, we're going to Orlando or we're going to Cancun, you know. Well, we went to Cave City, Kentucky, that I had never heard of before, and it's probably one of the neatest places we've ever been. You know,
Yeah.
That is interesting, isn't it? Those places off the beaten track often are, because they're not touristy, but they've got so much character and so much interest, and usually the locals are really friendly. Is that what you found?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we get into the big cities and stuff, and that's where you kind of get the people that kind of like steer away from you or whatever. And then you go to the small towns, and people, like, we went to one campground, and I think the owner of the campground kind of adopted Elias as their grandson. That, you know, that was part of our daily routine. We had to go up and see the campground owner every morning so that Elias could hang out with her for a little while.
That's so cute.
We have certainly found that the small town feel is kind of our vibe, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And you get such an authentic experience in those little places, don't you? It's not just set up for tourists, it's how people really live, what they really do, and it's so interesting, isn't it?
Absolutely. Lucy, I don't know if you can see the chat from where you are.
Well, I have it on my phone, so if I'm looking at my phone throughout this conversation, I'm not ignoring you. I'm actually looking at the chat because we're in different places today. We'll say hi to Dave and Kathy. Hello. Welcome.
Hi, guys, and thank you for turning up earlier where we had a time zone problem. That was so sweet of you.
They actually looked us up on YouTube when they saw your preview that we were going to be on. So we've been interacting with them already. They seem pretty nice. They're pretty awesome.
They are absolutely lovely people. Thank you so much, guys, for doing that. That's really kind.
Yes, and if you haven't checked out Nomadic Trio yet, we can't recommend them enough. So after this conversation, please go and look at their YouTube channel. We've put a link in the description.
Absolutely.
We'll also say hi to John and Cara. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi, John and Cara. They're also fellow travellers, but not in an RV.
We've got Minecraft, who's actually just over there. Hello.
Hello.
The sensational gent, Sean,
Hi,
says,
Sean.
I'm here being a morning person for a whole week. Oh, wow. Sean, I almost overslept today, so I'm very impressed. And the lovely Molly Makes, welcome.
Oh, hi.
And Flour, Eggs and Yeast.
Oh, hi,
Did Ryan
guys.
sneak into video shop for a moment? Yes, probably. Everything's in one room in our apartment, so you might see him walking past at some point. And let's see, Dr. Sev says, hello everyone, I love all the fun places you show on your channel, Nomadic Trio.
Uh-oh.
Awesome.
If it's at all possible, he gets cuter every time I see him.
Yeah, he does.
So I have to share this.
They might have seen it. I did put it on Instagram.
She did put it on Instagram, but we had this instance yesterday where Heather had gone out to get her hair cut. And so me and Elias are sitting there in the waiting room, just kind of waiting around because that's what guys do at hair salons. And so we're sitting there and this couple walks in and the guy's talking to Elias, and Elias, his thing is he will say hi to you until you acknowledge him.
And then
So the guy was sitting there and was kind of playing peekaboo with him and stuff. And so the guy looks at his wife and he says, I'll be right back. I'm going to run next door for a minute. And she goes, what are you doing? He said, I'll just be right back. And so he walks out and she goes, well, I guess he won't get far. He left the keys here. So I said, well, he'll figure it out. And he comes back about 10 minutes later. He had gone over to the grocery store next door and bought this giant balloon for Elias and brought it back to him.
Oh my gosh.
We have
That's
that
so
kid
sweet.
we have that kid that random strangers just want to buy him stuff. So
Oh, what a lovely story. How sweet.
Oh, nice man.
Yeah, exactly.
It must be hard not to spoil Elias.
we don't at all. We do not spoil him.
we don't spoil him because we have accepted the fact that we do spoil him. So
Yeah.
there's something there where when you accept it, it's no longer spoiling.
Yeah, just normal behavior.
Lucy's the same with the puppy, with Layla.
My gosh. She has me wrapped around her little finger if she had fingers. I always say to Ryan, we should have got an ugly dog because we can't help but
So guys, what was it like downsizing to a trailer? What was it like from a house going right down to a trailer? What did you have to do, and how long did it take for you to get used to it all?
I mean, it took about a box of matches to get everything to light on fire.
If only.
No, we actually had a discussion in a group the other day about this, and the thing with us is the trailer we bought needed a lot of work, and so we had plenty of time because I was having to repair it and rebuild it, and so we had plenty of time to get rid of stuff. So it was tough because the thing about going into this kind of lifestyle, and I mentioned this in our group the other day, you have to get rid of those family heirlooms too. You know, things that have been passed down from generation to generation. And so there's some having to make phone calls to family members and going, hey, do you want this? And if not, do you mind if I get rid of it, kind of thing. Right. So that was tough. And it took us, almost a year to get to where we could fit everything in the trailer. So it's tough, but we were coming from a 4-bedroom house into a trailer, so.
Was it kind of cathartic though? Because I know when you declutter, you always feel there's a huge weight lifted off my shoulders somehow. You know, when you've actually gone through the process at the end. Did you feel that?
Oh, we still do. We're still looking for things like, what can we get rid of now? This feels amazing.
We got into that Netflix show. I can't remember what it was called, but it was the lady that would go around and help people declutter their houses, and she would hold everything and go, does it bring you joy? And so that's kind of what we do. We walk around the trailer now going, does this bring us joy? And if not, there's the trash can,
Yeah. Do you think of yourselves as minimalists now then?
Oh yeah. And the fun thing about that is I think we'll stay that way once we do leave this life, we don't want to go into a big house. We want to find a small house, a little bit of stuff, because why? Stuff is literally stuff. And if it's just sitting there and it's just causing clutter makes me stressed. So to not have it is nice.
We were actually working in the garage the other day at Heather's parents' house. And I looked at Heather and I said, this sounds really strange. I said, but this garage would be the perfect size to live in.
Watch out, mother-in-law.
We did move into a really small trailer. It's the three of us, but then we also have two really big dogs, one being a Great Dane. So our trailer was so small that, one dog or person had to walk through the whole trailer at once. You couldn't go beside each other. It was really small, and we did that for over a year, and it was fine. We were fine with it. But now we just upgraded about a month ago, and it's like we're in a mansion. It's amazing.
We're in our own little apartment now.
I've just seen a message, Lucy, from your husband saying, Lucy, maybe we don't need to buy a house now.
Maybe. I even feel like getting things from, like, we've got a 1-bedroom apartment. Like, I can't imagine trying to decide what to take and what not to take. It would be very difficult for me, but I can imagine that it would be very freeing as well when you kind of sever that attachment to stuff.
It's tough until you start doing it. And then it becomes addictive, where you're throwing so much stuff away that you just get to where you're like, I want to throw more stuff away. And you just start throwing everything away. It becomes kind of
do you guys still teach with VIP kids, and do you have props and like all of that stuff? Because that takes up a huge amount of space in our apartment.
Well, when I first started with VIP Kid, I actually had an entire bedroom that was my office, and the walls were filled. I mean, I used to go crazy. But as I was doing it more and more, because I've done VIP Kid for about 4 years, or maybe longer than that, and I've gotten to the point where I either don't use props or I use like 2. It just the way that I've changed how I teach. So that's been helpful, because I don't think we could have had props in here. In our old trailer, we had like the whole underneath had props. Here we have a closet. We have a closet in here. That's
a teaching
amazing.
Closet.
Yeah, so it's just everything's organized, but it's more it's like that's our prop stuff, the things we need for class are just in one little closet.
Interesting. Maybe I should get rid of some of it then.
Lucy moans about her little corner in the lounge, which is her teaching area, which is kind of packed with stuff. I can't wait for a whole room to do her teaching in. So so how do you manage, your teaching, your family, moving around, and YouTube on top of all that? How on earth do you do everything?
Carefully, very organized.
That or we just don't manage it at all, and we just kind of go with the flow. I think that's kind of our mantra. We go with the flow, and I mean, I know that sounds bad, especially for YouTubers to say, well, we just kind of go with the flow. And Heather's really good about YouTube. She stresses about it. She makes sure she's getting stuff out there, and I just go, so. But Heather's really good about YouTube. But for the most part, with everything else,
we work around him.
Yeah.
We've had to change our schedule as he's growing. So it's whenever he's asleep in the morning, I'm teaching. Whenever he's taking a nap, we're teaching. And then after that, there's a couple days we teach long days just to kind of have the extra money. And we take turns. So one of us takes care of him. But most of the time, we're both done teaching by 12 or 1 o'clock, and we have the rest of the day to do whatever we want to do.
That's so nice.
Because we teach on OutSchool also. And OutSchool gives you a little bit more, because you can have, with VIP Kid, it's one-on-one. With OutSchool, we'll teach up to 8 kids at one time. So, that means that being able to teach more kids means you can make more money in less time that way. So that's the main thing we do is we focus a lot on OutSchool, and then she does VIP Kid in the morning and in the evenings.
Yeah, you make it work with the 2 companies. Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of people in the chat are talking about, the benefits of downsizing and decluttering and all the stuff like that. I don't know if anything you want to comment on, Lucy.
Well, that's interesting. Sean says, I think getting a house, other than an investment, it's all about what kind of life you want to live. Do you guys I guess RVs, do they depreciate in value or appreciate over time? Like, is it like a house?
As of today, no, but normally, yeah.
Well, in terms of resale value for private party sale, right now, I mean, you can get whatever you want for a trailer.
Yeah, you can double what you paid.
We literally doubled our money on our old trailer.
Wow.
If you go buy a new one like ours that we have now, it depreciates by about 50% as soon as you drive it off the lot. So,
yeah.
they but with that still, if we were to sell it in a year or so, we would still be all right. But that just tells you how much they cost.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So everybody thinks that RV living's cheaper. It's not. It's not.
Right. So are the fees at some of these places quite expensive then for you to stay?
Well, and that's where it takes a lot of planning and researching. And that's how we find the local places is, we don't need to stay in those top dollar places. Yeah. Every once in a while, it's fun because I know this sounds crazy because our life kind of is an all the time vacation, but at the same time, it's not. We're still paying bills. We're still paying rent if we're staying somewhere. So if we were to stay somewhere top dollar, that's like a vacation, like let's do this for a couple days. Yeah. And then we need to go back to working a whole lot to kind of catch back up. So we find the places that are smaller, that don't have all the amenities. They don't have swimming pools and stuff. Just somewhere to stay that's nice and it's a lot cheaper.
Well, because that's the thing. Our goal when we go somewhere is not to stay in the campground. Yeah. Our goal is to go out and explore and see what the area has to offer. If we're in like some luxury resort where all I want to do is go to the pool every day, well, then we're not really enjoying the area. So going and stay, and it's not to say that we stay in like dives or anything like that when we go places, but we have found some really nice, really small campgrounds that, people don't know about because they check in at the resort down the road, and so that gives us the opportunity to explore more. We're not as likely to sit still and just sit at the campground if we stay at these smaller ones that don't have, pool tables and all of that.
Have you guys ever rocked up to a campground and thought, I just don't want to stay here? It just doesn't feel good. Or it's like
one of our last ones.
Yeah.
But what we learned from that was you can't judge a book by its cover. It really wasn't bad. We ended up staying there for 2 months. We really liked it. But when we first pulled up, we're like, so what do? We just turn around and leave? Or I'm not staying here.
We pulled in and we both just kind of looked at each other and went, oh no.
Reverse.
Yeah. And it's hard to reverse when you're pulling a trailer. So
keep going.
Where do I have room to turn this thing around? But then we stayed there and we met the owner and we talked with the owner and we were staying down south. We were staying down in an area that had gotten hit by a hurricane a couple of years earlier. And he was still trying to rebuild from that, and you can't fault the guy for trying to rebuild. And it actually turned out to be a nice place. We made some friends there. We needed that place to be there because that's where my doctor's appointments were and stuff. And so we needed to be there for a little while. And it turned out to be a really good place for us to stay. But yeah, you do pull into some and you just go, uh-oh.
Yeah. So have you got a plan for the traveling part? Have you got a plan? This is where we're going to be in this state or wherever in 3 weeks time, and then we're going to go to this state and visit A, B, C, D, and then we're going to go to this state. I mean, do you have that set itinerary?
It's hard to do right now.
Well, usually we do though. Yes.
Usually we do. Right now it's really hard because when we first started this, it wasn't that hard to do because nobody was traveling. Now that people have been locked inside their houses for a year and a half, everybody is traveling. If you try and go out west right now, there are no campgrounds that have any availability. So right now it's just kind of play it by ear, and we have we know where the areas we're going are. We just, with the way life is right now, we're still trying to figure that out. We've got to go back down south for some more doctor's appointments. So we know we're going to be hitting southern Florida and stuff here soon. But once we do that, it's going to be wintertime. So we'll probably be, maybe parking in Lucy's driveway because there's no parking, no campgrounds out there. So that might be it.
Good luck with that one. Well, if you come to Arizona, you must let us know, and it would be really cool to meet up. Yeah, I was just seeing in the chat.
It'd be really cool to meet Elias.
Oh,
yes, basically, yeah, we just want to meet Elias.
Yeah. We'll say hi to you guys too. I was just saying in the chat, Omar Far Away, thank you so much. And she was another one that turned up this morning when I mistakenly got confused with time zones, because I'm now in the UK, and my computer, well, it was my computer's fault, obviously. Let's not blame myself. Let's say it was technology that was at fault. And,
that's what I did.
Oh, and Dave and Kathy Hyde say, are you able to boondock for longer periods? Like, do you have solar, large water capacity, etc.?
That was a must-have for this new trailer. We do have solar. We do have large capacity holding tanks now. So we are able to boondock more. And we have
not yet.
We haven't yet. But that's something that we were looking into because I'm from out west. I'm from Wyoming. So I'm like, if we get out there and there's no campgrounds, I'll just pull the trailer onto BLM land and we'll boondock for a few days, and that's what I look forward to. So yeah, with this new trailer, those were must-haves. We needed large capacity holding tanks, and we needed solar on the trailer. And so this one, it wasn't. Lots of travel trailers come solar ready. Not many come with the panels already on it. This one had the panels and everything on it, so we can boondock and save money as much as we want now.
That's fantastic,
great. Yeah,
because you can save money and go to places that you wouldn't normally be able to go to. So a real adventure.
So many options.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so, John and Cara want to know, I was just going to read, we have a question from John and Cara who'd like to know, have you heard of Harvest Host? Inexpensive yearly membership, but some beautiful wineries and locations.
Oh, Harvest Host.
You've looked into those, haven't you?
Well, in the Harvest Host and Boondockers Welcome. So we've been trying to decide on which one we want to do. Harvest Host, it's no hookups. You're staying at places, which is great, but we'll have to kind of look more into that because we have a toddler. So, there's the places like, okay, would it be beneficial with him? Boondockers Welcome, you sometimes have hookups, sometimes you're just kind of, on your own without electricity, but that's also free. It's a membership. So yeah, we know about it. We're trying to decide what we want to do.
Yeah. And then there's another one. There's, what is it? 1,000 Trails. 1,000 Trails is actual campgrounds. It's the same principle. You pay a yearly membership, but then you're more having to find one of those campgrounds that actually has spots available. But it's the same principle. You pay an annual membership, and then it's almost like timeshares. It unlocks, based upon the membership that you buy into. It unlocks different campgrounds and different resorts that you can stay at. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that out there. We just haven't decided on which one we want to do yet.
Yeah. It's my baby.
And I've just seen Paul is here from Paul Gaming. Hi, Legend.
Hi.
And
Flowers and Yeast have a question. Sorry, Mum, I know you've got a question too.
Yeah, no, don't worry.
Flower Eggs and Yeast want to know, how many states have you visited? Do you have a goal of visiting all 50 states?
Our goal is to reach every state. Yeah. We knew we've been sitting still for about 3 months, so I'm forgetting all of the. I don't even know what 8 maybe. I've been in about 8 states. When we started out, we knew we couldn't go too far away from our home base of North Carolina, because Elias is so small that he has so many doctor's appointments. It'll eventually get to once a year, so come back once a year. But now it's every 6 months, so we're able to go out a little bit, come back, go out again another way, come back. But after this year, then I think we're going to finally be able to kind of head out west and start hitting a big amount.
And I think we decided this time when we hit the road, we're actually, instead of, just going a little ways and staying for long periods, what we're going to do is we're going to just maybe go a little ways, spend a day or two, and keep going. So we can get further out in a shorter amount of time. That way we can get out to some of the Midwest and stuff before we have to come back to North Carolina.
Oh, so you've got to come back again to see family and friends, or just,
For a lot, until we know for sure where we want to stay, we're keeping or where we're going to live long term, because that's one of the things we're doing too. As we're hitting each state, we're saying, okay, is this somewhere we could see ourselves living?
Yeah.
Because it won't be North Carolina. And right now, North Carolina is our home base. It's where my family's at. And so we come back here. Elias's doctor's here. So eventually that'll change to wherever we're going to be. But so we'll have to come back.
So are you going to put
oh, sorry, I keep cutting off
That's
your
okay.
I just wondered, it's so nice that you get to test the water and see if this feels right or if it doesn't. Is there anywhere that you've been to that you feel like you could settle, or are you still looking for it, do you think?
Well, we're still looking, definitely, because we haven't even touched the West Coast. I've only been to Wyoming once, and other than that, I've never been on the West Coast. So I'm looking forward to that. Kentucky and Alabama it's weird to say because I didn't even think I would like it. Those are my favorites.
Heather was actually scared to go to Alabama. And then when we left, she goes, I loved it there. That place was amazing. And when we started talking about Alabama, she's like, I don't know if I want to go to Alabama.
It's funny, isn't it, what perceptions you have about places. And often when you arrive, they're either really good and they're better than expected. Sometimes it's the other way around, though, isn't it? Yeah. When there's a lot of hype about somewhere, you think, I don't see that myself.
Yeah, you have to go to a place.
Florida was kind of like that. I mean, Florida's beautiful, and I have family in Florida that love it there. But Florida is like,
it's not really us.
I was like, it's a little too city for me. I'm more of a out in the boondocks kind of guy. And Elias is driving his monster truck on our desk right now.
So we're shaking.
But so I'm more of a boondocks kind of guy. In Florida, I just kind of got that. Everything was too close for me. And I was like, I don't, but it's a beautiful state. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I understand. And so does the weather and the season determine where you're going to travel? I mean, are you going to try and, go further north in the summer and further south in the winter because of, the extreme temperatures?
Well, when we first started, we were in Boone, North Carolina. That's where we lived for 5 years. And we started out in a campground there. And because of COVID, we got stuck there for 6 months. So we got the dead of the winter, the snow, the ice, the -7, -10 degree. That is not fun in a travel trailer. And it's really not fun in an old travel trailer. So, that's our hope.
We follow I tell people we follow the weather patterns. That's really good.
That's a good idea. And you probably don't want to be in a travel trailer in Arizona when it's about 114 degrees.
They're kind of like little ovens in the extreme heat.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Ryan would like to know, what do you miss most about having a traditional home?
The only thing that I miss is the family part of it, because I'm big family and I'm not used to being away from them still. So being able to literally every day go over there if I wanted to. But other than that, I agree with him. Absolutely nothing. Yeah. I can't even imagine being in a house now and walking outside and seeing the same thing every day. That's what I like about traveling, is we spend so little time in the trailer. And every time we're outside, it's something different. It's a new background. It's great.
There's less to work on too, and I don't have to mow grass.
Yes, that's a big one.
Point. Yes, indeed, yeah. Yeah, that's a great thing that it's got in favor of it, isn't it? You know, waking up to different views, you know, every few weeks, and
when you don't like your neighbors anymore, you can move. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Do you find that with being more transient that it's harder to keep friends, or are you just so busy you don't really, you know, it's not a huge thing for you guys?
It's harder to keep friends, but it's also hard to make friends. And I don't know if it's just adult life, adulting is hard to make a friend or what, but yeah, we've struggled with that.
I never had friends, so I don't know. Like, I can't answer that question.
but the friends we have made, even though we probably either one will never see them again, or two, we see them like once a year. They've become a different type of friends. They do the same stuff we do. They understand. So it's kind of like a different type of friendship, different conversations you would have with, you know, say the friends that we have from here. But I do keep in touch with some of my friends here. It's just a little harder because I'm like, okay, I'll be back once a year. We have to stay friends. But you have those ones that actually do, and they're very happy to see you when you come back.
And of course, you've made virtual friends on YouTube, you know, and and what were your feelings about that? Were you surprised that the YouTube community is so, you know, supportive and friendly? I mean, we were hugely surprised by that.
So, sorry, I'll let you, but I just wanted to say the one thing for me, my dad died right over a month ago. And I can't even tell you, like, I just got chills, how amazing it was to have that community and all of y'all, of people that I've never even met, all of the support I felt and like the heartfelt support that I got from everybody. That was amazing. And that's when I told Kenny, when he was all like, oh, we should be done with YouTube. I don't want that. Like, for y'all, everybody to care about us that much. And why not? So
yeah, Kenny, no, you must not leave YouTube. And everyone out there, please support them and make Kenny absolutely certain that he doesn't want to leave YouTube.
And by no means did my feelings about YouTube have anything to do with our subscribers and the people that do support us. Because I really do appreciate those people. We're in a niche that is very crowded. We're in a niche that's very crowded. There's a lot of us out there that are doing YouTube, that are doing the same thing. And I was one of those, this is going to be the raw answer here. I was one of those kids in school that was kind of the kid that was overlooked, wasn't the rich kid, wasn't the popular kid. YouTube kind of triggered me back to that within our niche. Is we weren't the good-looking rich couple. With
he wasn't.
Yeah, I was going to say, Tobias.
But it was literally seeming like that. I mean, you would get these raw answer. You would get these 19-year-olds that's parents, instead of going to college, their parents gave them their college fund, and they went and bought a brand new truck, brand new trailer, and went out and started a YouTube channel. And within 3 days, they had 200,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And so I kind of got that feeling from back in high school. And I was like, I am done with this. I'm not playing popularity contests on the internet. I want, and Heather had to remind me, well, that's not what we're doing. We're putting stuff out that people can use and stuff that will help people. And so, no, we're not going anywhere. We're not leaving YouTube. I had just gotten to a point where I was really frustrated of seeing the same thing over and over. And I just felt like we were in more of a popularity contest than a contest, than releasing good content. And so that frustrated me. And I reached that YouTube burnout moment where I was just like,
I think we've felt that too, haven't we? Because we've had times when it's felt like, like I was saying to Ryan the other day, like it took us forever to get like from 50 subscribers to 150 subscribers. It seemed to take forever, and then you'd get a few and then you'd drop back down, and we're just like, maybe people just don't like us.
So hard to believe. I
know, but yeah, that's kind of how we felt, and we felt a bit sad for a time. So I do kind of relate to that, and I do understand that, but I think sometimes like it takes the algorithm a little bit of time to kind of figure you out and like who to show you to, and like who your crowd is, and yeah.
So no, we're not going anywhere. We'll be here. We'll keep putting videos out. So we're excited. We're excited about our future with YouTube. So
yes, indeed. So how do you see your channel evolving? How has it evolved, and how are you going to? How do you think it should evolve so that you get even more joy from it, and B, to make it stand out more from that very, very crowded space?
Well, we started out thinking that everybody was looking for tips and advice on where to go. So, and that's one of the things that got to Kenny is, well, it was rough. Like, we were spending more time videoing, carrying around equipment than actually spending family time on these amazing places we were going to. Kenny most of the time had to go back and watch the video to even realize what was happening. And that was unfair, because that's not what we're doing. We're here to show people, but this life is for us. We're happy to have everybody follow along, but if we are not enjoying it, what's the point? And so then we actually recently decided, we're going to pick, I don't remember what it was, like so many a month that we'll record, but all the rest is just going to be for us. We'll take some pictures for Instagram. But what we're learning that's really popular is the how-to stuff. We'll look up if we're wanting to know how to do something, how to fix something, how to make something. And if we don't see a video on YouTube, we'll make it ourselves. Yeah. We'll figure it out.
I think that's perfect. Yeah, your YouTube, the videos you make where you show people how to solve problems or what to do to make things better with the RV, technical things. I mean, I think they're fantastic, because the way you explain them, it must be so helpful for people, because as you say, there's probably lots of things. Oh, go here, it's beautiful, and do this, and enjoy the RV life. But when something goes wrong, or you need a new piece of equipment, practical stuff is so important.
And I've rebuilt an RV from the ground up, so I'm pretty good at working on them. So that's kind of what Heather said. She's like, why don't you start letting me video when you're working on it? And that can be some of the content that we're putting out. And that's actually been our most popular videos, out of everything that we've put out, is the videos that show people how to fix something when it goes wrong, because lots of stuff goes wrong on these things.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
and you need to get it done quickly, don't you, most of the time, because you might be moving on, or you just want to enjoy your time. And
John and Cara say your son will appreciate your videos in the future. And that is so true, because it's sort of like leaving a legacy, and he'll be able to see himself growing up through the videos, and videos about you two, which you just can't capture in normal everyday life. So I think that's such an important thing to remember too, that you're capturing memories for all of you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm just going to jump back really quickly, because I know we missed a question from Molly a little way back. Molly wants to know, do you ever want to live in a house someday, or not sure?
So eventually we will. Eventually we will, because we do want to settle down once Elias starts getting into that school age. And we may homeschool him for a little while, but we do want him to have that social interaction with other kids in a school environment, in a classroom environment. So we will eventually. It probably will not be something that is customary though. We're looking at probably setting up somewhere and kind of doing a homestead / opening our own campground kind of thing. So that's one of the things we're looking into, is buying land and building on it and actually running a campground off of the land.
Well, you'll be experts at running a campground, won't you? Because you'll know exactly what to do and what not to do. That's a fantastic idea. And again, it's like a family project that you can all get involved in, which is
when
wonderful.
I'm too old to do it anymore, I can give Elias the keys, and say,
exactly,
run it into the ground or sell it. Do what you want with it. So that was kind of one of the things that when we came up with that idea, we both had good jobs when we started doing this, but it was working to a retirement that was a long ways away. and there really wouldn't be anything for us to leave Elias in the end game. And that was something that bothered me, and so that's why we kind of settled on that idea. Is we want something that if he wants to go to college and become a lawyer, that's great. He's more than welcome to. But if he wants to take over what we've built, then he can do that. You know, I want him to have that option. That here's something that we built together, and it's yours if you want it. So that's kind of why we settled on that idea.
I love that. Yeah.
I do. Yeah. I was pausing, allowing you to speak there, Lucy.
Oh, when we're not together, it's very hard to gauge. Let's see. Molly says, my daughter and son-in-law want to do this when their daughter goes to college. She is 9 now. Yeah, it's kind of, it must become a little bit harder to do this when your children are a little bit older, or if you have multiple children as well. Do you think, guys? Because I mean, like, it's a space issue as well.
I mean, the family part of this life has gotten so popular. Before, it was more of the retired, where we would see, and we, like, people would think we were kind of crazy or look at us like, wow, how are you doing this when we first started? But now, I mean, that's most of what we see, or it's at least half and half. And I mean, it's big families. I give a lot of props to these people that we follow on YouTube, 5 and 6 kids. I mean, it's easy with Elias. It's just one and he's an easy kid. But I mean, that's got to be tough trying to learn and figure out. And they seem so happy. So you can definitely do it with more kids. You just have to remember, that's just where you're sleeping. Everything you're doing, including where these people are homeschooling, they're doing it out in the environment, which is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so practical as well. Yeah, and getting a real life experience at the same time.
And and you know, you don't have to jump into it full throttle either. We've made friends that they are full-time ish, you know, because they have kids and they want their kids to go to school. But what they'll do is they live in an RV where their kids go to school. When their kids aren't in school, they're on the road. You know, that way there's not a house tying them down. That way, when spring break comes, summer comes, they hit the road and they go, you know, and there's nothing saying, oh, we have to get a house sitter, somebody has to watch the dogs, any of that. So it's doable. It's doable even with children in school. You just may not be able to do it 365 days a year, you know.
Of course, and maybe not go as far, obviously, because the time constraints. Yeah, but it's still, you know, all those times when the children are off school, you can do it.
You didn't go to school, you know.
Exactly.
I think people are craving, like, because I was watching Tiny House Nation the other day, and they were saying, like, they wanted to downsize. They had a big family, and they realized that everyone was just going off into their own rooms, and they never really saw each other. And so they wanted to, like, downsize in order to, like, literally bring the family closer together. And I think there is a thing nowadays about feeling kind of separated from each other, and people just want to connect. And I can see how that works.
Me and Heather had gotten to that point before we started doing this. You know, I had my man cave, she had her office, and, you know, we'd come home in the evenings and I'd go sit in my man cave and she'd go in her office, and, you know, we'd meet back up to go to bed, you know, that kind of thing. And so
now we can't get away from each other. We have doors now. We didn't have doors before, so now we
well, that's handy.
We can slam a door every now.
I was going to slam a door now. That's always very satisfying, isn't it? Yeah. So, without going into too much detail, do you think it brings you closer together? I mean, I guess if you want to get out of each other's way, you can just go outside and go for a walk or go to the shop or whatever.
Yeah. And it's a much smaller bed now.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
We needed this. We needed this to help, you know, bring us back together. And when Elias came along, it took so long for us to have a family that all we wanted to do was always be together, and we have that now. And I'm not just saying this, I'm really not. We do not really get tired of it. Every once in a while we get on each other's nerves, but to live with each other and to be beside each other constantly, I mean, it's not what you would think. It's really not, because we're always doing something. And if we're not, we're always planning of what we're doing next. So there's not downtime to get on each other's nerves.
Oh, that's good.
That's wonderful.
Well, I thought.
Yeah.
I think you've got several comments and questions in the chat along these lines too.
Yes, let's see. I'll read out a few comments. Let's see. Ryan says, I think when you find your passion, if it's traveling or anything else, you make time for it. Nice. Yeah, very true. And Sean says, I used to always watch tiny house stuff. Love the thought of downsizing. Yeah, there is something to it, isn't there? And Molly says, I do not understand why people want to live in gigantic homes.
Yeah.
No, I know. It must, I always wonder, like, it must feel very lonely sometimes, unless you have a huge family and maybe you live with your parents or something.
And then cleaning. Oh my gosh.
Cleaning. Oh my God, you are so right.
It is so much easier and faster to clean a 35-foot trailer than it is to clean, a 2,000 square foot house.
And there's no cleaning, and it does get dirtier quicker. And there's stuff everywhere, but it's a lot faster to do.
Well, that's a definite plus if you cut down on the housework.
Exactly. Yeah. More time to go out and enjoy things. Let's see. Flarix and you say, there will always be an audience for good, helpful information. It's evergreen. We're so thankful to know you guys. That's true. It's like useful content is like, it's always going to be popular, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed, absolutely. Yes, yeah. So just to go back to the YouTube side briefly, what video is your most popular, would you say, and why? Is it now the technical ones, or is it something weird like one of the challenges you used to do?
No, it's still embarrassing, because I think it was last time that we interviewed with y'all, I said this. So we were I think as anybody, but we were really bad at making videos when we first started. We had no clue what we were doing.
So were we.
When I watch them, I cringe. And one of the ones that's one of our most popular, it's up somewhere at 7,000, 8,000. I mean, it is me making curtains, no-sew curtains, where I'm just using hot glue. And we were still in the house. The trailer was in the driveway. I was making them for Elias's room in the trailer. It's so bad. Oh no, it wasn't the curtains. It was the couch. I was reupholstering the couch, and half of it is you're only looking at the couch up close because I'm talking and I'm recording it myself, and I didn't, I guess, think about a tripod. It was so bad. And there's not even bad things being said on there, which is crazy, but but everybody wants to redo their couch. They don't want to get rid of it. They want to reupholster it. So everybody's watching.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll all be going to do a reupholstering couch video now. That was hard to say.
Well, I think that's what happened. I think, because I told her, I said, it's not just people in RVs that want to reupholster a couch. I said that's a good search topic.
And it's really expensive to get somebody to do it for you, a company, really expensive. So I guess. Right, we'll make a note of that.
so that's something we're learning too from YouTube is, I think our title for that one was something like couch reupholstery or something.
Without sewing, no sew, or something easy.
It was something random, but it had perfect search cues in it so that when people Google it, bam, there it is, and that's something we're learning too, to put a little extra thought into our titles, so that they pop up more as search results. So
do you guys use TubeBuddy or anything like that?
I did at first, but then it kind of became more to do with it. So I know it's probably really helpful, but
we brainstorm a lot. Like she'll be sitting here and she'll go, okay, start giving me ideas. I'll just start blurting stuff out, and for tags and for titles. And I mean, as long as it's on topic, YouTube doesn't mind, so I just start blurting stuff out. She starts blurting stuff out. We've kind of become our own tube buddy. So.
I love that.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, you know so much about your subject. So, that's great. Yeah.
Ryan would like to know, did you get a lot of subscribers from that video? Do you know?
I think that when I've had, I'm in a couple RV groups, and in groups, Lucy, like the one we're in, they don't mind where you post your videos and stuff, but most of them, like the community ones, they kind of frown upon that unless somebody asks for it. So whenever we did something in our old trailer, I think it was when we did the countertop, where it was the $5 countertop, I put a picture in there just so people could see it. And I'm telling them, hey, you can do this for $5. So everybody's like, oh, I want to see more. So I posted a video that I think we got a couple hundred from that within 48 hours. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just finding something they're interested in at the right time.
Yeah, that's so true. We find Facebook groups a really good place to post in and to ask a question and, put a link to the video. And, we do get quite a few views doing that, don't we, Lucy?
Yeah, it's really useful. Like you say, not all groups will allow it, but a lot of the groups, like we're in these Brits in America groups, as long as it's relevant to the group, they don't mind if you post your video. And because it's so on topic, like you say, it's so relevant to that group, what we do, that it does get a lot of traffic coming to the channel. So that's been a really good way for us too.
And it's nice getting the views, but then when there's so many views and it's like, okay, you got 3 subscribers from it. Yeah. I think what we also need to do is figure out, and we're getting better. Like Kenny has that weird sense of humor that everybody seems to love. So that's what I told him in that video where we did, where we were keeping the RV cool. I'm like, use that quirky, like weird sense of humor you have, and let's make it, a topic of what people are looking for, but make it funny. So then, they see the real you, and maybe they'll actually subscribe then. So we're trying to learn to not that we're shy, but to actually use our real personalities all the time. I think that would be helpful in getting people to subscribe.
Because we don't really like to be and I guess to an extent we're starting to kind of go that way, but we don't want to be scripted. And that's kind of my thing. If you give me a script, I'm gonna mess it up. But if you let me just freelance it, I've got it. If you let me go with it, I've got it. But as soon as you start telling me, no, it's got to be scripted and structured, I'm going to mess it up. So we don't want to be scripted, but I think we're kind of starting to venture into those waters of putting at least a little bit of script to what we're doing, and it kind of makes it easier in editing. It makes it flow. Rather than me rambling. So.
Exactly. We agree. We started out not being scripted at all, which is blatantly obvious. And but we are far more scripted now, and we, because
I think it's
the
easier for
process
people
is
to.
smoother.
Oh, sorry. No,
so
sorry. I thought you finished.
Something I like about y'all, and I've always said that, is you probably edit out some of the like bad stuff where you really mess up, but there's a lot of it you can tell, or you use it as a blooper, or you just leave it in there. And I love that because it makes you real people. And that's what I'm looking for, is somebody that's actually real to watch instead of all the fake stuff, So I like that. And we need to get better at leaving that in there instead of, nope.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think that's right. I think, like you were saying, like people need to get a sense of who you are in order to subscribe. Like they might like your video, they might watch the whole thing because it's useful or interesting or whatever, but if they're going to subscribe, I think they have to really connect with you or your channel. And so I think that's why we do it, and just to show people who we really are. Like we're the same off camera as we are on camera. And I think that does seem to help in terms of getting subscribers, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so what have been the biggest challenges since you started your YouTube, and what have been kind of the things where you thought, oh my goodness, that was easier than I thought it was going to be?
I think hardest is especially sitting still, is coming up with things. We always said that we would be ahead and we would have months of videos sitting there. And at times we did, because we recorded so much. But now we're like, all right, we need a video for next week. What are we going to do? And that's where he says that I get stressed out. And I'm like, tell me something. He doesn't tell me. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what to do. And then I'm mad at both of us for not planning ahead, but it works out. It works out. And I think that's something we need to get better at. And so that's been the hardest, is doing a whole, I don't know how y'all do more than one a week. One a week is hard for me.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is hard because like we said earlier, Mum's now in the UK and she'll be there for a couple of months, so we had to get ahead a little bit. Like, we can still do some stuff while she's in the UK, but we wanted to have loads of content so that we had stuff to keep us going. And it was so hard to build up that content whilst also putting out 2 videos a week. It's been that's probably been our biggest challenge lately, hasn't it?
It's been a huge challenge, and it's exhausting, and it's it's just like, you spend a day and it's like 3 videos in a day, maybe more, and then you have another day, and fitting all that in with working and doing other stuff too is a challenge. But we kind of felt more comfortable if we'd had videos ready to put out, ready for Lucy to edit, because it's not going to be so easy doing things via Zoom, and the quality isn't going to be as good. And we've got some ideas of what we can do, and and things we can think of that I can do here in the UK. But it's that being organized, isn't it, ahead of time, that's a challenge. But it feels so much better if you are, because otherwise it's like, it gets stressful if you think, what are we going to put out next week?
Well, and that was the issue that we were running into, was we thought we had lots of content ready to go, and it ran out really quick. And then we were like, well, now we got to come up with some more. So that's a big challenge. And like Heather said, especially when we're sitting still, nobody wants to see the front yard. And
we're in a new trailer, so there's not a lot of things to fix. So now we're having to get really creative of what we can do.
Well, maybe you could go around to other people at the site and say, if you've got something that needs fixing, we would like to do a video of it.
Can you give us a tour of your trailer?
Okay, now we've got a little pause, Lucy. Who have we got on next week on Share the Love Sunday?
Oh yes, I'll do a quick shout out. We've got Saeed from the channel Wanderer Footsteps, who's got wonderful content. He does all sorts of things: book reviews, travels, reviews. He does some interviews with some really incredible, motivating people on his channel. Wanderer Footsteps, he'll be on next week at the same time. Oh, and whilst we're paused, if I could just say, please give this video a like if you haven't already. We'd really appreciate it. It helps us out. And don't forget to go and check out Nomadic Trio if you haven't yet done so.
You are more than welcome to YouTube anytime with us. So don't hesitate. Just come on by. We'll even respond to your comments.
Yes, so important, isn't it, to connect with your subscribers? We always make sure to respond.
Yeah, and I see that you guys do too. I mean, I get a little bit worried if it's gone 2 hours or more and I haven't answered a comment, and I start waking up in the night. Oh my God, there's another 2 comments. Should I answer these now?
Well, and I want to make sure that we actually interact with people, and maybe when we hit our 10 million soon, it'll be a little harder, but I do want to try to interact with everybody. And I tried to do that on Instagram, and I still try, but to comment and talk back and to send messages to people. Because again, what is the point if you're just following them and hitting the liking them and what? I want people to watch us because they want to watch us, not because they're just like, oh, I'm just going to help you, I'm going to hit like and move on. I want you to actually look forward to seeing our videos. And if you don't, that's okay. You don't have to be there. So that's why I like to interact with the people that do. We really appreciate our community.
We do.
Yeah. We actually couldn't believe when we first started, the support and the comments, and it just overwhelmed us. We were so happy. We thought, what an amazing thing. People are commenting, people are listening, we're like you. We really do appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So if do you want to do the last question, Lucy?
Yeah, if you've got a question for Nomadic Trio, then please pop it in the chat now. But our last question is, if you could take everything that you've learned on your YouTube journey so far and kind of boil it down into a piece of advice for someone who's maybe thinking about starting a YouTube channel or someone who's just started their YouTube channel, what advice would you give someone who's new to YouTube?
I guess if it's somebody that was thinking about starting a YouTube channel or has just started a YouTube channel and is kind of getting that burnout feeling, that kind of, man, this isn't going the way I thought it was, is nothing happens fast for the majority of people on YouTube. For the majority of people on YouTube, it is a grind. It is slow paced. It doesn't happen overnight. And it may not happen over a year. You know, you may not, but that's okay. Goals are something to shoot for. Goals aren't always something to be made. If every goal was made in soccer, soccer would be a very boring game. You know, so goals are there to reach for. They're not there to always be achieved. And that's okay. If you miss the first shot, you can always take the second shot, you know? So don't let yourself get bogged down in the negative and look for the positive. Heather's really good with YouTube about looking for the positive, where I'm really good at looking at the negative. So coming together, we make a balance out of it. But I think that would be the advice that I give somebody that's starting out, thinking about starting out. You know, don't look at the people that have millions of subscribers and go, that could be me next week. It can't be. I mean, it might be. And man, let me know what you were videoing if you made it that quick. It might be you, but for the most part, most of us, it doesn't happen overnight, you know, and it takes time and it takes a lot of hard work. So that would be my piece of advice.
Oh, that was very well said. Very good
said.
advice. Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
yes, so thank you for that.
Dad says he likes that analogy about goals. He's big into soccer, so that spoke to him.
Soccer, yeah.
And I think, there's something about enjoying the process of it, isn't there? Not just being focused on the destination of like money or fame or whatever it is for you. That's like, we enjoy this so much, and I know you guys do too. So it's like looking for rewards in that rather than just rewards from the money side of things.
Just enjoy it. Just
Yeah.
enjoy it instead of focusing on, like you said, that getting monetized, you know, get that out of it. Don't even make that a goal yet when you're starting out. Don't even make that a goal.
No. Can I just read a comment out? Lovely Oma Far Away. Hi, Anita. She's reached 200 subscribers today and she's absolutely stoked. It took 2.5 years. And her channel, Oma Far Away, I love. I'm always telling you, aren't I, Lucy, how much I love it.
Yes.
Congratulations. So well deserved. Yeah, really happy.
Well done. Yeah, that's fantastic news.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, everybody in the chat, for joining and being so wonderful and giving out some great questions and comments. We really appreciate it. And a huge big thank you, Nomadic Trio, for being a fabulous guest again. And we wish you luck and safe travels. And
thank you guys so much for having us. We love you guys. So we always look forward to talking to you.
It's always a pleasure to be asked to come and sit down with both of you. So anytime, we are more than happy to sit down with you guys.
Oh, thank you.
That's really sweet. Thank you so much. Yeah. Well, take care, everybody. Have a nice day or evening, and we'll see you again next Sunday for Share the Love. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.